So I'm ready when you are, Clay.
Yeah, okay.
Ready?
So I muted myself. Yeah, go on, it's fine.
Okay, cool. Can everybody hear me, guys? All good? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. No problem.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Claire, thank you very much for the invite. I've heard lots of good things about the group as well, and keep on doing what you're doing, guys. Claire gives me some really good feedback about what's going on in supported living world, service accommodation world, and everything else as well. So company, firstly, my name is Paul Davis. I'm one of the partners at Ramsay and White Finance for Property Investors. We've been going now since 2018. Joel White set up the company and I joined him about 8 weeks later. We used to work together at an old brokerage, old commercial brokerage. As you can see by the list there, I'm head of bridging and commercial finance. I used to be a residential mortgage broker for my sins, but you've got to start somewhere. I'm also a portfolio landlord and a commercial landlord as well. So I get it. I get the pain that we all go through for mortgages, dealing with solicitors, making sure your business is set up correctly with the right accountants and structures, everything else. I'm actually going through that myself, a restructure with the accountants at the moment. As a company, we've submitted over £300 million worth of lending since we started. Myself and Joel started in the back of a pub, basically in Cardiff, with a couple of laptops, a couple of leads, and a couple of grand between us. The team is up to, since Claire's joined us now, 19 people across the UK. Something we're very proud of, very passionate about working with investors as well, because that's what we want to do. That's our bag, do you know what I mean? So hopefully we get a little bit of value from tonight's presentation. Social housing is something I'm quite passionate about from the lending side of things, because about 16, 17 months ago, there was a lot of stuff going around on social media, property groups and stuff, that it was quite an easy bag really, but it's just not the case. No matter what people tell you, there's a lot of things that you need to do to get the deals over the line as well. So hopefully you get some value from the presentation. As a company, service accommodation, bridging and development finance, commercial finance. So if you're looking to raise finance on commercial assets, commercial units, semi-commercial stuff, HMOs, buy-to-lets and personal name limited company, secured loans as well. We do pretty much everything it says on the tin. We do residential mortgages. We've got residential mortgage brokers. We do business protection, income protection, life critical illness cover within the team as well. Okay, so we cover pretty much everything, which is important these days with everything going on in the world as well. So it's always good to do a review. Planning is key. Do you know what I mean? We have many clients, new and old, come to us as well. It's always good to put a plan in place. I love a strategy call. I think a lot of people go on courses, and they do get educated, do you know what I mean? But do they actually have a plan? Do you know what I mean? I'd probably say 7 out of 10 people I work with have been on a property course, have no plan once that course finishes. So I love a strategy call, see what happens. What do you want to do over the next 3 to 5 years? I think that's very important in your property journey, guys, all right? How to finance social housing. There's a lot of information. You probably won't get it all from tonight's call, but I'm happy to speak to you later on, and obviously through Claire as well. You need a minimum of 12 months buy-to-let landlord experience, unless you want to go to Together Finance and pay up to 8% rates, okay? There's no doubt about that. You need a buy-to-let in the background. And depending on some challenger banks who are actually lending on social housing leases, you need maybe 3 buy-to-lets or maybe 2 HMOs. Okay, so it's really important that you speak to the right broker with that as well. There's a few people on here already that I can recognise. It's important to speak to the providers. I see so many people coming to me where they've signed the lease, the providers have taken over the property, and now they can't mortgage the property because of the way the lease is structured. Do you know what I mean? And then they go back to the provider won't change that, and it gets you into all sorts of trouble. It really does. So it's really important to speak to the providers and then connect with your broker of where you want to put what does the lease look like. And then obviously the right property as well. Do you know what I mean? I've seen many deals fall down because of the areas that they bought the property in. And then when they're looking for a lease, it doesn't fit with a lender as well. So if you can imagine, I'll use an example. If you go to Redwood Bank, they've got a minimum property value of 125k, or minimum loan size, I think, is 125k. So the property value needs to be about 160k. But then if you've bought that property and you haven't got the right lease as well, there's a number of things that can go wrong, guys. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to be really careful of how does the lease look? Where's the property that you buy in? Is it in the right area? And has it got the right values as well? Because you've got to, it's more that the lease has got to be attached to the property first, not the property to the lease, if that makes sense. This is really important to me. I found this out the hard way with a couple of clients back 12, 14 months ago. What we do now at Ramsay and White, and Claire will start to learn this with us as well, we want to see the lease pretty much before you bought the property. If you've got the property already within your books, that's fine, but let's have a look at the lease. What does it contain? Do you know what I mean? Leases start from 3 years. You've got 2 or 3 lenders in the 3-year space. Then you've got a couple of lenders in the 5-year space, and you've got a couple of lenders, I'm not sure if you know this, because they're quite specialist lenders. They want 10-year leases. They're happy with 10-year leases. But it's really important, again, to make sure the lease fits with the lender. For example, Fleet Mortgages are one of the best lenders out there for social housing, but they just pulled out of, they will only lend to housing association now, or your local authority, or circle leases. They've pretty much ditched the third-party leasing as of 2 weeks ago. They've been taken over by Starling Bank. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. They're actually a Welsh-based owner. She started that back a few years ago, and they've just bought into Fleet Mortgages, and they feel that they've got too much social housing on their books at the moment with these third-party people. So something to be really careful of as well. Rates, they start from probably about 3.4% with 75% borrowing. But as you're probably aware, some of you anyway, they go up to nearly 8% with the likes of Together Finance as well. Any questions so far, guys? Or are we all right? Clear?
No questions so far.
Okay, cool. No worries. So a little case study for you. A good client of mine. He's got a mixed portfolio. He's got some flats in central London, and he sort of diversifies his portfolio now with some social housing stuff, and he's doing a bit of development as well. So he's got a really diverse portfolio, and I think it's a really good case study because like I said, social media is quite a powerful thing at the moment, especially in the property world. And we all want to get into social housing, but I would always look at potentially doing a bit of a diverse portfolio as well. So this particular deal, it was bought on a bridging loan through us. And he'd done the refurb on it as well. GDV is 400 grand. But he already had in place, and so we were working closely on the exit strategy. And this lease come over at first, and it wasn't the right lease. There was a third party involved in it. So we all worked together to make sure we got the right 5-year FRA lease. And he exit on, I think it was about 20 grand. He was happy with that. So I mean, guaranteed income and a nice little deal for him. and he's moved on to his next deal then as well. And his next deal will be with the same social housing provider in the area, and that's going to be a 5-bed HMO. So he's built the relationship with the broker, he's built the relationship with the lender, he's also built the relationship with the social housing provider now as well. So I think that's really important, of working with the right team. I don't really like using the word, but the power team, I think, is really important in social housing, contracts, financing, etc. If you wanted to become a client of Ramsay and White, contact us, not today, it's a bit late on this Friday night, but drop us an email. You'll see my details below, or get in touch with Claire as well. I'm going to be helping Claire over the next 3 to 6 months to get her knowledge up on social housing stuff and everything mortgage related. She'll probably hate me after 6 months because I'll be giving her so much information, but it'll all be worth it. The admin, if you do become a client, we've got an admin team behind us as well. So that makes my life easier and the broker's life easier, because we actually talk about the deals, put the deals together for you, and hand all the paperwork and all the boring stuff across to the admin team as well. My details are always responsive on WhatsApp, so take my mobile number there. You've got my email address as well, and obviously you've got Claire's details as well. So we, like I said, we're both going to be working together for the first 3 to 6 months as well. That's pretty much it. I could go into a lot more depth about social housing and lenders and leases, but I'm happy to take some questions and give some answers back as well, because I think that's probably more important than me just rattling off all the criteria on social housing stuff. Okay, guys. Yep, that's it from me. But like I said, I'm happy to take some question and answers.
Cool, that's brilliant.
Thank you. Very interesting, that.
Thanks, Peter.
Sorry, guys, I'm not sure.
That was Peter just saying it's very interesting. Christy, did you
thank
have
you.
a question?
Yeah, it was just a little bit to dig a little bit into what you mentioned about third-party agent. So did you mean a managing agent or a rent-to-rent agent? And if so, how did the managing agent feel who had found that provider, probably done a lot of work to do due diligence on them and build that relationship, and then they were cut out?
Yeah, no, so the third party, so you've got your main contract from housing association, or the third party sort of sitting in, bringing in the contracts. Is there any guys on here who working with sort of third
Yeah,
party?
so
That's why I'm asking the
Okay.
question. So
But
yeah.
I think he's talking about a mirrored lease here. That's why.
Yeah.
So do you know the so you got your circles, yeah?
Yeah, we work quite closely with a lot. So how we work with the providers,
Okay, yeah.
and I do a lot of extensive due diligence on them and build the relationships.
Yeah, cool.
And
Yeah,
we kind of sit in the middle. We have a management agreement this side with the landlord, because we've done a lot of work to establish that relationship. But then we also allow the landlord to sign the lease directly with the provider, so it doesn't affect lending.
Yeah.
My question kind of to you was it a managing agent, or were they sitting in between? Is that what the issue was with that landlord?
No, so fleet mortgages were accepting the leases from the other providers. Okay, so apart from fleet mortgages, fleet mortgages only now accept from housing association, local authority, or circle leases.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it was literally 3 weeks ago they stopped that, but they're obviously one of the main go-to lenders for the third party contracts as well. So our relationship with our lender, we can pretty much get the lease put together to suit the lender more than obviously the managing party. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So, but the other lenders is about, you're probably aware there's about 5 or 6 lenders in the market only. But everything you ask, but they're fine with them, yeah.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, I've been talking to Claire about this as well, and we don't struggle that much with lending at the moment. I mean, we've got 60 odd properties going through with various different housing associations, Sercos. The one we
Yeah.
do struggle with and we can't get lending is Mears, because Mears removed their landlord break clause. So no
Yeah.
lenders will touch it with a barge pole at the moment. So they're a really big issue.
Yeah,
at
it
the
might be
moment.
worth having a side conversation with Paul,
Yeah, we will.
Simon, especially when we have the volume that we do, most definitely.
Yeah, so
that's a big
there's
thing.
no, I can't see the camera, so there's no issues with
If you
lending.
unshare your screen, we'll all come back. It's probably the easiest way.
Yeah, if you stop sharing, I'll just stop recording as well.